Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like the only way for you to feel clear, grounded, or powerful in your day is to use a specific tool, some kind of routine, or even talk to that person? Like if you don't journal or meditate or even have that morning coffee, that your whole entire day seems to be off and you might even spiral a little bit into negativity? Well, today we are breaking that illusion right there and helping you gain an understanding that I know is going to empower you and equip you with something of a perspective that you can utilize in your day and your life for forward progression. This is about remembering where the power actually lies. It's not in that tool, not in that self-help book, even though that they are great. It's not in that spiritual crystal. It's not in that routine. It's within you. We're talking about permission slips, what they are, how they work, how they can potentially become a trap for us, and how we can outgrow them. Because until you see yourself as the source of power in your own life, you'll always chase the symbol or the tool or routine outside of you to achieve a certain state. Welcome back to the Uncaged podcast. I'm Andy. This is episode 25, and we're going to be discussing all things permission slips. Let's get it. So what is a permission slip? Permission slip can be many things. It can be a meditation. It can be the action of a morning routine. It can be the coffee in the morning. It can be anything outside of you, like a person or a coach that you speak with. Now, these permission slips are assisting us when we use them to access a state of being of our choice and desire. And then we start to assign the outcome of achieving that state of being with the permission slip or tool that we have gained it from. So in other words, in a way, we can become reliant on these tools and these permission slips that I've just listed as just a couple as an example. What happens when we don't have access to these things in our life? How do we act? How do we feel? What changes? Something really important in this moment when we don't have access to those old permission slips that help us achieve a certain state of being or some kind of permission for us to act normal or feel like ourselves, is that we have lost the understanding that we have always had the power within ourselves to manage our own state, irrespective of anything outside of us, like the permission slips I said before. Think of this. In times where you desperately feel like something's missing, when you feel like that, if I just had that, I might have this. I'll be happy when. Maybe if I can achieve this, then I'll be something. You know what I mean? All of these things are assigned by ourselves as something to rest on, like an excuse. So another example is, let's use the gym for instance. Sometimes people can't actually push really hard, and I've been here before. This is kind of embarrassing, but there was a time when if I didn't know that someone was watching my activity doing these things, I wouldn't try hard. I wouldn't even push myself unless someone was watching to give me some kind of validation or credit. Now, that's something that we should really watch out for, because imagine that. All of the success that we could be achieving is reliant on an external factor outside of ourselves to achieve it. Now, it's imperative. It is absolutely necessary to realize that we can control the outcome regardless of the external permission slip, like someone watching, like the coffee, or that one person you need to hear their voice from for you to feel grounded or confident. Now, for the record, that was the old me. Today, I play games with myself, knowing that even on my down days, I can leverage the true permission slip, which is me, and assign the meaning to myself as to why I'm going to go and push myself. And the results are tenfold in difference. Because if I didn't have that external thing there for me, I would have a crappy session. I wouldn't feel good. My motivation would dip and I'd feel like I'd need 50 coffees to achieve the task itself. So this doesn't really sound like something that's conducive of consistent results, especially if there's no permission slip tools around me or us to achieve the outcome. Permission slips, when used unconsciously, well, they turn into cages. And this is the Uncaged podcast, so screw that. Here's the perspective shift that I want to give you so that there is no unconscious trapping from relying on permission slips anymore, even though that they are great to use, but we'll always have permission slips around us because that's just how things are. My biggest thing is that what I don't want for you is for you to rely on something. And if that one thing is gone, that you spiral out of control into negativity and your whole day gets ruined and you have one long refractory emotional period that just seems to last too long. So, the evolution, becoming the permission slip for yourself, never really needing the external. We use the external stuff like the tools I mentioned before because who doesn't like a nice coffee in the morning? If you don't drink coffee, maybe it's the morning routine. It could be the meditation, the conversation, whatever it is. All of those things are okay. But when they're not there and we fall apart, that's when it becomes a problem. So if we really go down to the nuts and bolts of things to solve the problem of caging ourselves within a permission slip, we need to realize the nuts and bolts of what a permission slip actually is. And my own conclusion that makes the most sense to me when I look at it is that it is the belief within something that we've assigned it to. The more meaning we give something, the more power it holds for us. Because when we have an object or someone or some kind of routine that aligns with our belief system, we will feel our absolute best when we do that one thing. I could pick up this book right here, which says Macmillan's Walking Track. Now, if I assign the meaning that if I do not read the first paragraph of this book every morning, my whole day is going to feel incoherent, out of balance, and I'm going to feel negative by lunchtime. I can literally assign that meaning and give this book, this object outside of me, that much power over my state of being. That's because we have the ability to choose what we assign it to. Now, it's not so much that, like obviously, I'm not going to assign a belief personally to a walking track book and reading a paragraph. But it just goes to show that that's how easy it can happen. And if we do things unconsciously in life, if we rely on it because we feel insecure without it, we need to come back to feeling the power within us. We need to realize just how in control we are of our own ability to change things in our reality. And that's where everything can pivot in life. When we realize that we are the permission slip itself that is giving away parts of that permission slip to objects, routines, and people in our lives, we don't really need them all the time. If they're not around, that's okay. We can still have a great day. We can still achieve the desired outcome we're after or feel how we want to feel. And isn't that really awesome? So in a relationship, imagine if you've assigned the permission slip for your own happiness to be something that is reliant on your partner or a friend. And if they're not around, you get really angry, really upset. You go inward and you start getting narky, whatever it is. There's the pitfall to the end of a relationship just waiting to happen. And what I'm going to try and put across today is that everything is unconditionally supportive. Let me tell you that in a different way again. The universe, all of reality, this is one of my favorite things at the moment. I don't know why, it just clicked for me and made me feel at peace because I'm able to take control. The whole of reality, the universe itself, is unconditionally supporting you and every single one of your beliefs and choices. Unconditionally. Good or bad isn't even part of the equation. It's like, oh, You want to go and get addicted to cocaine? I unconditionally support you. Do not recommend that, by the way. Oh, you want to go and you want to jump 5 cars on a motorbike from a jump? I unconditionally support you, even though the risks are very high. I unconditionally support you. Terrible examples, but you get what I'm trying to say. It doesn't have assigned standards or meanings built into itself. How does life get its meaning? This is the question I have for you. And this is going to tie everything together with the permission slip itself. If life itself in the universe doesn't have assigned inbuilt meaning and is constantly unconditionally supporting you on any of your choices, good or bad, unconditionally loving you enough for you to support any decision you make, where does the meaning come from? Where does the meaning get assigned from? That's exactly right. If it hasn't clicked yet, I'm going to tell you right now, it is us. We assign the meaning to everything. And that is absolute power. Because then if something's bothering you, you can go inward and go, what am I believing about this one thing and myself that's making me feel the way I don't prefer to feel? Oh, that's right. I've assigned meaning to that object because of past experiences, and at that time, it was a thing that helped me back then. So then I just carried it forward, and then now is the thing that supports me in the now. But I'm realizing I react really negatively when it's not around me. I just said a lot. But you get what I'm trying to say. It is literally the biggest empowerment within, I know, myself, but in general, think about it. You get to control what you assign meaning to. And you have now got an excuse, another permission slip, to investigate your own beliefs, your own perspectives, when you're off balance and if you're going negative because of something outside of you. If you react negatively to anything outside of you, you now have an excuse and an understanding to go, oh, hang on, this is that permission slip thing. This is that belief thing. I get to investigate within myself. So then I get to utilize some tools. Like previous episodes, things like anchoring yourself in the moment, calming yourself down, so that you can investigate and think about it with a clear mind. What am I believing in right now that is causing me to react how I'm reacting? Because then the further you dig into it and you go, what would I have to believe to be absolutely true for me to be reacting negatively when this thing is occurring outside of me? And you'll get your answer. You'll realize you gave a lot of power away to something or some kind of permission slip, and you were unconsciously reliant on that permission slip. And you just built a habit and a whole identity around that thing being within your reality. That's okay. If that ever happens to you, that's okay. You press the reset button every moment anyway, because every moment is a new moment, and moving forward is all we really need to focus on. You don't need to get caught up in the details every single time. But the more you can hold it in understanding like this, you really can never, ever, ever be trapped. If you ever feel trapped, wouldn't that make sense then that you would have an unconscious belief within a thing, object, ritual, or some kind of permission slip that you believe is trapping you? Isn't that crazy? You get to actually figure this stuff out now because you can investigate it. And you never really can be back against the wall unless you truly feel like you can be trapped in some way. If you believe it, you can be trapped. But if you know you are the dictator and the controller of your own reality, your own beliefs, the permission slips and the meanings you put towards things, you are always in control and are in the driver's seat, ready to steer the ship wherever you need it to go. So own it. Own that you can be the driver, and you don't need to rely on the past conditioning in your present moment. If you don't like the current setup of your belief systems and your habits, this is really important, just by the way. If you are not in a state of being and your habits and beliefs and rituals every single day and you don't like them, it's not what you prefer, know that you can change it. Take ownership that, okay, right now, this situation is really something I do not prefer. Remember, even in that moment, to investigate it, because remember, old programs based on previous episodes, they will try and throw tricks at you to make you give in easy to maintain old programs and habits. Even if they don't serve you, they just want to keep living. But remember, in those moments, if you don't prefer the setup and you've just realized how much control you have, know that in this moment right now, you get to begin the process and tools to change your belief structure, change your habits and your actions, perspectives, how you carry yourself every single day, every single next moment. But first, you have to believe that you can do this. You have to understand that we are the creator of the forward progression of time in our reality, for our own reality. I know that's kind of crazy to think about, but the more you can grasp a concept, the more free you are to create based on your highest passion, your excitements, and the things you desire to experience in life. Unless you are content. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to bully you. If you think about it, if you want to settle in this current reality that you do not prefer, I'd be questioning and investigating the victim identity within our own selves that wants to perpetuate the same victim mindset to keep the same outcomes occurring. So don't do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to, please go ahead and be my guest. But for those who want to change, understand that the more that you can realize the understanding of permission slips itself and our power to assign them, because we are the source of the permission slip that gives us the feeling and the outcome. Super important. All right, massive permission slip rant today. So I'm going to leave you with something. I want you to take inventory and a list of the things that you give your power away to currently. Choose one thing that you maybe don't want to continue giving your power away to, so that you can take back a little bit of control as an example to prove the concept, just how fast change can occur and just how better you can feel, especially if it's something that makes you feel a negative emotion. So take inventory of the things that you give your power away to currently and choose one. And then work on rewiring the permission slip direction to something of the positive that isn't the same, so that we can achieve a different outcome. Now, remember, really quickly, just so that it's fresher in your mind, permission slips can be anything at all. Like I said, it was a walking track book. The more relative ones are more like, if I don't have my coffee, I can guarantee that everyone's going to hate me because I'm going to be really mean. Mate, you can change that if you don't want to. If you find you have too much coffee, you can apply it to coffee. Maybe you have less. Maybe you cut it out for a day to test your ability to stay in control, or just to even witness your reactions. One of the other important ones, like I said before, it could be if you have a partner or a friend that you're relying so much on at the moment for you to feel at peace and so that you can vent or whatever it may be, or for your own happiness, and when they're not around, you react negatively. Put yourself in scenarios that's going to challenge that so that you can see that you can manage your state, you can find new permission slips to dictate your own happiness, which my biggest recommendation, don't have to take it, is yourself. You get to create happiness out of nowhere. How good is that? You can find amusement in any way possible. You don't ever need the external thing to bring up the feeling of happiness within you. So you never really needed the permission slip, like the person, to give you that feeling. However, it is fun to have a partner to have a laugh with, obviously. However, it is the things when we rely on them that become the negative things. So we just want to watch out that we're not caging ourselves into a permission slip for an outcome within our life to feel a certain way. I keep going on these rants. This is just a cool topic, and I just feel like the more that we can take note of these things. We get to see just where we're placing our beliefs on objects, places, people, and things within our lives for an outcome we want to feel inside. We get to dictate where we place the permission slip. It's not about not using the permission slip. It's about being conscious of where we're placing the permission slip. I'll give you my examples. I love training with weights. It makes me feel powerful, so I assign the permission slip for me to challenge my body and mind, to feel the feeling of power, confidence. I'm anchored in my present moment when I do a workout, and it gives me the sensation and feeling that I'm going to progress past the point that I'm at now. And that's exciting to me, so I give my permission slip to the training. Isn't that great? So try it out. Test it out for yourself. Don't just take my word. I want you to experience it. And please don't just listen to the episodes. Try the information. If one thing from the episode clicked for you, anything at all, try it out. Try it for yourself and let it grow into something that is going to be an example for you of the control in your life and just how much of a creator you are of your future, regardless of your past. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you have been listening, this is episode 25. And please, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help the channel grow. And that is the first time I've ever asked that, ever. If you have been listening, thank you so much. I will see you on the next one. Let's kick some ass. Game on.